What's up, everybody? Welcome to the High Level Husband Podcast. I'm Tommy McAllister, joined by my beautiful wife, Diane.
Hey, everyone.
So, guys, we're going to continue on with episode 3 of the Christian Intimacy Masterclass that we've been doing. If you haven't caught the first 2 episodes, check them out. We've had different topics like the do's and don'ts. We've had porn and toys, and this one is on initiation, which is such a huge part of intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to get into all the reasons why it's such a huge part of it. I think we'll just probably start this off with a story about initiation. If you've been listening for a while, you've maybe heard this, but it's such a good one in general because especially at that time, our communication wasn't the best. And it's just so cool how God works because we've been able to use it for good so many times now. And so when you really look back at life, you're like, oh, there was God. He was using this, because that was something that we didn't do very much, was talk about intimacy, let alone
We didn't talk about anything hardly back in the day.
just about the surface level stuff that most couples talk about. So we're going to get into all types of intimate, how to initiate, the benefits of it, all of the different stuff, how both partners should initiate, and all these different things on it. So we're going to dive into this, guys. But we'll start with the story on this, babe. It was, I don't even know how many years ago now. This has to be, 10 maybe years ago. And we were having, I don't want to say consistent intimacy, probably once to twice a week is probably where we were at that time. And probably. And it was mediocre sex that we've talked about. You had to have the lights off, same time of day, pretty much the same type of positions and things like that. Not that at that time that we were a little more fleshly with it. So I think my flesh wanted all these other positions and things where that's a whole nother topic.
It was different.
But I was the one who always initiated. And I remember one time that we were talking and I said, babe, it would be nice if you initiated sometimes. And you said,
it's kind of your thing.
And then I was like, yeah, it is my thing. But at the same time, how would it feel if I just never initiated ever again? How would you feel?
Yeah, terrible. And I had never really even thought about it like that. I had never switched the positions to see, not positions, but switch the perspective to see what that would actually be like, And so once you said that, it was like, wow, it kind of opened my eyes in a different way that I hadn't even realized.
And you started putting more effort into it. Now, guys, when we had that conversation, it wasn't me being a jerk. It wasn't during a fight or anything like that. I presented it pretty much in this tone right there.
Yeah.
Like in a loving conversational tone to you. But I think where most guys or girls in the same thing go wrong is they always bring up their complaints during a fight.
Yeah. Well, you never blah, 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 blah.
And the keywords they use, never and always, which isn't true, but sometimes initiation might actually be never on that. And I realized that because my parents, God bless them, they're growing in certain aspects of their life and I love them. And my dad actually has been a huge part of my life in many different ways. But I always told my mom, well, why don't you talk to dad about this stuff? You only do it when you're arguing. And she says, well, because when we're not arguing, I don't want the peace to stop. Mm-hmm. Well, then cool. Enjoy the hot, cold for the rest of your life, because that's what it's going to be. Yeah. But if you can talk about this in a loving manner, you'll actually be in cool temperatures, and it'll go a lot better than if you bring it up when you're mad at each other in those things. So that's a whole nother topic, but initiation is so key. So let's get into the benefits of it. What I'm so thankful for now, babe, is in our lovemaking life, you initiate just as much as I do. And it means a lot to me, because I know I want to feel desired in those ways.
Who doesn't? I feel like everybody wants to feel desired,
Everybody wants to. This was so key, is that everybody wants to feel desired. Now, there's so many ways to feel loved. Sexually is one of those ways. And I love it when, you do it for me. And so we'll get into the ways that you do it later on when we're talking about ways of initiation. But so let's talk about the benefits. Let's just jump straight into it. And we're going to give some different ones here. So it makes number one, it makes your spouse feel desired. When you initiate, you're telling your spouse, I want you, not just intimacy, but them specifically. Mm-hmm. That kind of validation builds confidence and deepens connection. So you write that part, confidence and deepens connection. If I never initiated, let's split this around on you would think, A, is he sleeping with somebody else? B, is he masturbating? Or C, he's not attracted to me at all.
Yeah. What's wrong with me? Why doesn't he want me?
because I know the way the devil works. I was just having a conversation with James the other night when we were talking. He was asking questions about the devil, and I said, "Well, I can just see the way the devil works now. I'm so close to God
Mm-hmm.
now, and getting closer the closer I get to God. The way also, I don't want to say get closer to the devil, but I see his tactics far more.
Mm-hmm.
He gonna play with your mind. He just not gonna be like, oh, your husband. He's gonna be in there and be like, oh, your husband's not attracted to you. I bet you're sleeping with somebody else. He thinks you're ugly. He thinks you're fat. He wants a divorce. Like, that's the way he works. That's the way mental warfare, spiritual warfare works. He gets to your mind, and if those aren't addressed, they will go and they will grow and grow and grow into something else.
Mm-hmm.
And we could talk about all the different aspects of it, but it'll kill a woman's confidence and it'll kill a man's confidence. Why is my wife not attracted to me? Maybe at work I'm killing it, and everybody else thinks I'm excuse my French here, but a badass at work. But at home, my wife ain't paying no attention. Well, then in your head, you're like, well, why isn't he not initiating? Well, so many men go wrong in this is they go, well, if she's not initiating, I'm not initiating.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Yeah,
rejected
tat for
me.
tat.
How it will be that thing. It's like, dude, stop being immature. I get it. You want to do that because you're frustrated. You want to pay them back, but it's
Mm-hmm.
never going to solve the problem. I'd love for you to touch on like the confidence aspect of that.
Of not initiating.
Yeah, like if I just was like all of a sudden just like no longer initiated with you.
Oh yeah, and and I don't know if that affected you when I didn't used to initiate or not, but probably. But yeah, exactly everything you just said, my confidence level would be absolutely shot if you were initiated. I would think that there was something wrong with me. It would always go back to what's wrong with me. What's wrong with me? What do I need to fix? And so my confidence would be super shot.
Yeah, and especially for me, and we've talked about this before, and I'm not justifying this or anything, but this is just the way life is wild. It's wild. But that's why the closer we get to God, the more personal development we put in. I'm going to put out a post this week about it, but I put it in for our community today and really talk to them about it. Was I spend 32 hours a week on self mastery, but that gets me here where I'm stable, where there might be wildness in the world and life around me, but I'm so stable now because of that. I can't say I'm perfect, but good Lord, I'm way more stable than we all always used to be, right? Because of putting 32 hours a week of self mastery on that. And yours is like 20 something, I think, as you figured out today, hours on that. But my point was saying that was years ago when I was cheating on you when we were dating,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't for the sex.
Right.
It was always I wanted to feel wanted. Well, why? Because I didn't feel wanted as a child from my dad. I was the shyest kid in high school. I was rejected at everything that I did. I was not a sports star at all. Like all these things. So I wanted to be wanted. So then when I started getting attention from girls, I needed it from all of them, not just one.
Right.
Why wouldn't I just be satisfied with one? Well, gosh, because our flesh wants all of this different stuff. And so my point was saying that is if you're not getting it from the one, if you are satisfied with just one and you're not getting it, it's really, really hard on confidence. And they say,
Mm-hmm.
man up. Well, dude, I'm alpha as they come in a lot of ways, but I want to feel wanted by my spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll be real with you, even just still to this day, there's times where like I've maybe initiated the last few times. I'm like, oh, so tonight I'm going to wait. I'm going to let her initiate tonight. And I know you will. That's the thing. I'm not playing a game,
Right.
but it's still in the back of my mind. Like, okay, I want to see if she's going to go for it. And it makes me feel good. I'm not going to, if you don't, I'm not going to not do it,
Right.
on that and
Or
play a
be
game
mad or,
or not talk to you
yeah.
about whatever.
Show
Like,
frustration.
no.
Yeah.
But in my back of my mind, I'm like, I hope she initiates tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes me feel desired
Mm-hmm.
in those ways.
Yeah.
I love it when this is a whole nother topic, but like, I love it when you send me a picture of yourself in your bra and panties or some kind of racy photo. Like, I love that. It makes me feel desired
Mm-hmm.
in that. So women, if this is you listen to that, yes, guys got to do something. And I'm not bragging or anything. You just heard me. I put 32 hours a week in self-mastery,
Yeah.
22 and a half hours of spiritual development and 9.5 hours of physical development in a week. That bleeds over into how my wife sees me in those aspects.
Absolutely.
So yes, you got to do things to have your wife do those things as well. But if your husband's putting in the effort, he might not be doing 32 hours. That is a work up to it. I didn't come out the gate that way.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies, show him some love. Like, it'll go a long ways.
Absolutely.
And not just once, like once a year. Like, if you only did that once a year, I'd be frustrated.
For sure. Yeah. Who wouldn't be?
So No, we're gonna have to run through these because we don't want to make this a super long one on all of that. But it prevents a one-sided dynamic. If only one person is initiating, it can create frustration, rejection, or even resentment. When both partners initiate, it keeps the desire balanced. We've kind of touched on this, but
Yeah.
it goes both ways. That it can be a mental warfare. It can hurt confidence. Why not go both ways? Uplift this. It's not just in the bedroom. I affirm you in so many ways. You affirm me in so many ways. When we were just praying before we pray before every podcast, what was I doing? Thanking the Lord for an amazingly beautiful wife on the outside, but even more beautiful wife on the inside. I'm uplifting him. I'm affirming you. Will you do that with me in so many cases? We do it back and forth, initiation back and forth. All of these things, it's a two-way street in all of that. Now, marriage is not 50-50 in certain things. We each have our individual roles,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm the head of the household. That's the role of the man in the marriage. He's the head of the wife, just as Christ is the head of the husband and God is the head of Christ. That's biblical. That is a biblical verse right there.
Sure is.
Now, that's a whole nother topic on how to get to that spot. So it just does prevent, it keeps things balanced in those areas of keeping each other. So one person is just not getting filled up and the other person is not getting filled up.
Yeah. I mean, if your spouse is, whether it's a man or woman listening to this, if your spouse is affirming you and saying nice things to you and, initiating doing those things and you're not doing any of it, start paying attention and actually do it because it'll turn things around in a whole different way.
Well, totally. And make a note of it. Like, you sometimes have to be systematic about it of like, dude, I'm once a day, I'm going to put a checklist in my phone where I'm going to affirm my husband or I'm going to affirm my wife. Like, you have to do systems of process because if not, life gets busy and you forget to do things. Well, then you think you're doing it more than you actually probably are. And then it's like, well, then one person's paying attention and not having those things done. So you've got to be able to really do that. But if like I'm pouring into you, I'm not doing it for you to do it, but it keeps the marriage equally yoked in a lot of different ways. And so it breaks up the routine. Doing the same thing over and over leads to boredom. Initiation allows for being spontaneous, excitement, and variety. And that keeps intimacy fresh and passionate. So many people, it's just like, okay, we're getting into bed at 10:30 tonight and we're in bed and I'm going to roll over and I'm going to rub your arm. And that kind of tells me that you want sex and then we'll have sex. Like, that's initiation to a certain extent, but it's really quite boring. And if that's the way it is every single time, it will be boring. You have to mix up initiation. Even if you're still not going to have sex until 10:30 that night, let the initiation start earlier in the day, sending them a pic, letting them know that you can't wait until tonight, that you've been thinking about them all day and it's going to be amazing.
Flirty texts, whatever it is, or before somebody leaves for work, let them know, give them a little love and let them know you'll be waiting for them, or, different things to change it up a little bit, keep it exciting.
Exactly. You've got to mix it up. Like, routine.
It's better than nothing at all.
True.
But still,
mix it up. It's
mix
fun.
It up a little bit.
Just it doesn't always have to be like, you don't have to have 40 different ways. You know what I'm saying? But just keep mix it up a little bit. Yeah. It keeps it fun. It keeps it playful. It keeps it guessing. Like, and that's nice in all of this. Life is fun when we mix things up in those aspects. It strengthens the emotional connection. Sex isn't just physical. It's emotional and spiritual. When you initiate, it communicates love, security, and commitment, which deepens a bond. It's weird because as I've grown with God and I've grown in our relationship, I enjoy the emotional intimacy just as much, if not more. Well, much more. Like, I love this. Like, this right here is like, man, it just fills my cup just talking with you.
Our conversations. Yeah.
Like, I love sex, don't get me wrong, but like, and we have quite a bit of it, but this is like the truth right here. This is what it is. You got to build connection and there's parts of it that get to there. Now, guys, the physical intimacy spot of it will fall off the table if you're missing the emotional connection. I put out a post the other day and I said, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like a B-roll footage one. And it was like, guys make love to feel loved, and women need to feel emotional to love to make love, something like that,
It was said way better than that, but yes.
I'm pulling it up. I think I erased it.
I know exactly which one you're saying.
I'm pulling it up. Here it is. Women want to feel loved to make love. Men want to make love to feel loved.
Yeah, yeah.
But here is the thing, and somebody pointed on this. So it's a lose-lose. Somebody commented was like, it's a lose-lose situation. And so I was like, well, actually it's not. I'm like, if you just do the emotional one, you're giving yourself a way better chance of
Mm-hmm.
the other one, but you can't skip the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, like physical intimacy gets so much better because of the emotional. Other than that, then it just becomes fleshly sex.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, fleshly sex is like whatever.
Or no sex because you're not connecting at all and the wife doesn't feel like they're connected. And
Yeah,
so many times it's easier, obviously we've talked about this, that for the man to jump into the bed, but not as easy for the woman, you know. And so it takes that emotional connection and growing closer together and sharing things and having that bond stronger and stuff to want to do that, to be more attracted, you know.
absolutely.
So
That's how come we have such an abundant. I mean, I would say we're probably 3 to 4 times a week, probably more so on three. So, and I think it's probably
it
it
varies.
varies 3 to 4, right? And it's because we talk so much. People have no idea how much we actually talk.
Yeah, like last night we were going to try to go to bed early and we sat in bed for like an hour talking.
Right. And but that's bonding
Yeah.
in so many ways. And then you were wanting me, but I turned you down. I said, sorry, woman, I got to get my sleep.
I
And
don't think so.
yeah, you were. No, maybe. But anyways, so it eliminates pressure and uncertainty. If one spouse always initiates, they may feel pressured or rejected when turned down. A balanced initiation removes that stress and creates a safer, more connected experience. And nobody wants to be rejected. Like I can count on a hand of probably in the past year. I don't think I've been rejected at all, and I don't think you've been rejected at all in the past like 365 days. We're so close though that we talk so much that you'll let me know of like, not intentionally say, hey, we're not having sex tonight. You'll be just like, man, I'm so tired tonight,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
something is like that. I take that in because we share so much with each other. I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, cool. Well, I'm not even going to make the move because she probably would go for it because I know who she is, but I don't even want to put her in that position to do that because I know she's tired. Like, I already know we're going to do it tomorrow. Like, then because of that, and I'm not even worried about it. Like I'm not even tripped. It's not a big thing. But if we're constantly being rejected, you got to be very careful on that. That's why if one person's initiating, there will be some rejection because the other person is going to be like, man, like maybe one person wants it more than the other.
Mm-hmm.
And then there will be some rejection. Well, then that hurts. I just don't care if they've said yes 9 out of 10 times. You get that rejection one time. It doesn't feel good. Like it's weird. Nobody wants to feel rejected at
Yeah.
all.
But I mean, it's called reading the room. You know, you got to read the room, just like you're saying. Like, if you hear me say, like, man, I'm just so tired today, or, you know, whatever it is, then which isn't an excuse because I'm not one of those people that says, oh, I have a headache. 20 times out of, whatever. So, but people do need to read the room. You know, if they do hear something like that, that's probably your hint to maybe not tonight, you know?
Exactly. But here's the thing. For the longest time, remember, I called you a hypochondriac, and I
Hmm.
wasn't doing it to put you down. Like, and you'll admit
It was
that.
true.
And I wasn't like, you're a hypochondriac. You need to suck it up and blah, blah, blah. No, that wasn't how I was. I'd be like, babe, really, babe? Like, I think you're kind of being like a hypochondriac. It's your knee, it's your elbow, it's your ears, it's this, like your stomach and this. And not because during the sex, I'm just saying in the normal everyday life, it was always
It was
something
my
that was hurting.
everything.
Well, guess what? When you developed mindset, when you grew your spiritual and your mindset and your physical, guess what? All that stuff went away. Wow, you really you think so? When you focused on your physical health, your mental health, and your spiritual health, all that stuff went away. Oh, you don't say,
Yeah, it sure did.
right? And so it's so important on all of that. But if you really do have a lot of problems, that doesn't mean still like I don't want to say suck it up, but at the same time, like I love you. Like if that was an issue for me and I had a million problems, I'm still going to give it to you even if I'm not feeling great. I'm speaking that from my perspective, but on the flip side, let's use it from the woman because typically a man can go whenever. The woman side, I know you've done that. Now, there's been times like I'm not even interested because of whatever, but because of that, you would still do it, not every day,
Hmm.
but if it had been 3 weeks because you weren't feeling good, that would never even get that. I don't think
No.
we've ever
I'm
gone.
like, it's never
We've
been
only gone
3.
that one time in our life, and that was been an intentional 40-day sex fast that we did. Um, you would, because of the love in our marriage, you're like, dude, it's
I'm not
30
going to make you go
minutes.
without.
I can suck it up.
Yeah.
And maybe that's actually what you do is, forgive me on that, but that's maybe what you actually do too. Sorry, guys. We're real Christians here, guys. Just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you can't enjoy sex and be that way. I'm being real with you right now.
But that's true. Like if you're, for some reason, like you have major health issues or something, or, you know, whatever's going on, and it's drawn out for a long period of time, take care of your husband or your wife, whichever way it is, you know?
Totally. It's like there's so many things you can do.
Yeah.
There's so many different things you can do for either of you.
Yeah. It's still going to draw you closer in connection.
And it's like, but it's not only about that, guys. You still have to put in the work in all the other areas. Like we said, we laid in bed last night for an hour and talked. Like, and that was probably after talking for 3 hours earlier or more during the day, if not more. So it's not like, guys, we're putting in the work with each other. So initiation brings playfulness and fun. Initiation doesn't have to always be serious. It's flirting, it's teasing, it's playfulness throughout the day, keeps things exciting and make marriage feel fresh and alive. We're always joking. I actually put out a post today that was like, you'll say something and I use a joke like, man, that Bible verse really rocked my world. And I'll say, I'll give you something that will rock your world. Like I use those funny things. I did it walking in the gym today. And so forgive me, French, forgive me on this, guys. We were walking to the gym and there was some clouds. And I was like, I think it's going to be wet out here. And you're like, it hasn't been wet out here all day. I was like, oh, well, it looks like they're having a cycling class outside. They're going to get wet. And you were like, I don't think they are. And I go, well, you're sure going to get wet tonight. And it was like, I'm just using that as like a joke.
Yeah.
And it was fun. We playfulness.
Exactly.
You know, I'm not.
Earlier in the kitchen, we were groping each other's butts, you know? I mean, you have to keep things fun and exciting.
But guys, you know how I can do that? Because I put that out and guy goes, well, my wife hates it when I do that. If your wife hates it when you do that, so chances that you guys' marriage is not very good, or she's not doing very good personally. So grow that, and that will come back. But if your guys' marriage is not good, you can't tell her, I'll get you wet.
Right. No, it's not going to be perceived in the right way. It's not going to be it's going to be taken in a huge negative aspect.
That's when they see it as negative.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of as a positive. We're in such a good place I can do that. Be playful in other ways, not sexually, to bring the fun back in the marriage, which is a huge key component.
Keep things lighthearted.
I'm super serious when it comes to coaching and like leadership and discipline. You guys listen to the podcast long enough, you know how serious I can get on here. 90% of the time, I'm just joking and having fun with you. I keep it lighthearted so I can say things like that. Guess what? There's a study that shows when somebody really laughs, for the next hour, they're super relaxed. What if all day you relaxed because you were having a good time? Well, life is so serious. Yeah, it is. I'm a warrior in a garden. You know what I'd rather be that than a gardener in a war. I'm ready to rock at the drop of a hat at any time. Let's go. But I'm peaceful and I'm chill and I'm fun. But I'm ready to rock at any time in the war zone at any moment. You know, same thing with you. So it reduces temptation and distance. When sex is consistent, intentional, and mutually desired, it closes the door on outside temptations and keeps you both connected. Porn is such an epidemic in this world. Now, I'm not saying because your wife's giving you sex, you're going to stop porn. We've watched this happen to many of marriages and many of men that I know. They thought that when their wife started having them sex and they started getting close, that would go away. It's not the truth. You know how you get that away? You develop yourself and you address the reason why you're doing the porn. And there's so many more reasons, but it's not just your wife's not giving you sex. It's not just about the orgasm. It's a release and it's a coping mechanism. That's a whole nother else. But it does help in certain areas. So it takes care of certain other things in that areas. So okay, so let's get into this, baby, and just talk about this like fun ways to initiate. I'll just talk. We've done a reel on this. My favorite way that you initiate. We're so systematic and routine in life that you always shower before me. I love it when I come out you shower first, and then I go in a shower, and then you're waiting for me in something sexy. Now it isn't something from the lingerie store that has a ball gag in your mouth and you got a whip and you're like doing something crazy. Is typically a bra and panty set that just looks amazing on you, which that does it for me. I would rather have that than have you be naked. And that does it for me. It makes me feel desired. It makes you feel put effort in. But if you got some old pajamas on and looking raggedy and you're like, hey, you want to have some sex? It's like, that's not as good as if I come out and you've gone the extra mile.
Right.
That means the world to me in those areas.
Yes. People, you got to put some effort in there. I mean, I could be sitting there laying in old pajamas, but sometimes by the end of the night, do I even feel like maybe sometimes not putting that on? Sometimes not, but it makes me feel good once I do put it on, makes you feel good about yourself. So I think a lot of women too, they push back against that. They're like, oh, I don't like the way I look, or, I don't want to put that on. It's like, once you do, you actually feel kind of sexy, and then it puts you more in the mood.
One, your husband will super appreciate it, even if you don't feel sexy about yourself.
Yes. He'll think you're sexy no matter what.
So we use the hidden folder section in our phone, and because Diane will send me things, or sometimes darn as heck, we'll record a couple of videos for fun. I look, I don't masturbate, and I'm just being real with you. That's just not something that's a part of my life anymore. It was when I was younger, and I love them. But what I love about that folder is that I have a video in there from when we lived in Eureka. And so that was, and this video was probably from at least 8 to 10 years ago. And that was from when you were in the mindset of your old self, not feeling sexy, and you had put on something sexy. And I was so surprised. I was like, I got to get a video. And you did this I said, do a little turn for me. And you did it. And that's the very first video in there. Why is it the very first video in there? Because it was the first time you ever did it. Well, guess what? So many things have built on our relationship, not just because you did that, but that was out of your comfort zone. You didn't feel good about yourself in that moment, but you did it anyways.
And it shows that you enjoyed it because you still have it.
I still have the video.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So like, it means to me, I enjoy it. It's there. It makes you feel, it makes somebody else feel special for them in that moment. So it's not, if you don't feel sexy, well, guess what? Still do that. But guess what? Do something about it. If you do not feel sexy, do something about it. You just heard me say I spend 32 hours on self-mastery a week. Well, I don't have that time. Oh, you do. Believe me, I have an insane amount of clients. I work a ton of hours. I have multiple things. I run a podcast. I run a coaching business. I'm in 5 different Bible studies. I'm in many different things. And I work just as many hours as the next man. I still do that. I still spend 2 hours a night intentionally with my kids, and I talk to you for multiple hours a day. Why? I have no other distractions. Remove the distractions, you find time. The reason why you don't is because you feel bad. Your energy is low. Your spiritual's low. Your marriage is low. You have no discipline, and because of that, you're unstructured and all these other things, and you're so depressed that you're scrolling, you're watching TV, or you're stuffing your face full of food that you don't go out and do those things. See, guys, I can turn into that warrior in just a second. But it is the truth. Do something about it.
Yeah.
If you don't like who you are, do something about it. This is for the men or the women. Do something about it. I'm 44 years old and in the best shape of my life. Diane's 43 years old. She's in the best shape of her life. Why? Because we do something about it. She just said it's 20 something hours that you put into your self-mastery this week. Oh, what? Guess what? Well, you're a mother of 2. You work in our side of our business. We have a ton of things that we do. Guess what? You still put it in.
Yeah.
And guess what? You feel amazing about yourself when you didn't for years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. For many years, I didn't do it. And I had every excuse in the book, like many people do. We were just talking about this today, all the excuses that people have. And like, I don't have time. Yet, like, just exactly like you said, they're scrolling on their phone. I bet if you recorded how many hours people are scrolling on their phones every day, it's probably a couple. And then sitting and watching TV for hours a night. That used to be us. We used to do that. It was a waste of time. Hence why we didn't talk, because we were so sidetracked by doing so many other things.
We would be the person with the classic post on social media. Hey, what series should we watch next? We just finished X, Y, and Z. We watch no series now. 0, none. And it's not like, oh, we're cooler than you. But guess what? We have a life that other people want. People say, well, you got lucky, or things like that. There's no luck involved. There's no luck involved. Well, I scroll or I watch TV because I'm checked out at the end of the day. Dude, I'm going all day until the moment I go to sleep. I finish sleeping with reading the word. Literally, I go until I go to sleep. And that's what it's about. And I can't wait to get up and go again. It fills your cup. Yeah. When you do something to fill up your cup, guess what? It gives you more energy. Watching TV does not make you check out. It actually zaps your energy, pumps you full of crap that doesn't make you a better person. And next, guess what? How's your marriage working out for you? How's your life working out for you? Like, Yeah, let's just be real. How's that working out for you? Not great. Okay, change it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be the first to say that back in the day when I didn't initiate and didn't do those things, we'd watch TV every night. I'd be falling asleep on the couch, just like a lazy person, just sitting there, and then we wouldn't have any conversations or do anything. So I would never initiate or anything because I was so like, bleh.
100%.
So change it.
You ain't falling asleep now.
Yeah. No.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-uh.
And that was at like 9:30 or 10.
Yeah.
And now that like conversation we had last night was at midnight. So it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, guys, that's my favorite way. I love texting, and I will send you sometimes some sexy pictures
Yeah.
in there for you. You send them to me.
Yeah.
I'll flirt with you in text. We're at the gym. We'll flirt back and forth. So text, guys, it keeps the initiation earlier in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But you can do that even in the night. Like, hey, I'm waiting for you upstairs. Something like that. It just mixes it up.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm jumping in the shower. I can't wait to see you up here. I'll be da 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 da. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It just takes it up an extra notch.
Especially if you're somebody who, like me, especially at the beginning, who I'm not as good with words like that. So if you can send a quick text like that, it's an easier way to not have to like make it feel like it's awkward or something.
In person, right?
Yeah.
Like it's an easier way.
Yeah.
So, there's so many other ways we can do it. A deeper kiss, right? Not just like a peck. Push the person against the wall. Women, the same thing for your husband. Grab them in certain spots. Do different things that set this up for later on.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
we've seen
make him leave for work feeling happy and excited to come home.
Right. But then just don't leave them hanging later on
Right.
unless something really comes up like,
Yeah.
babe, I am so sorry, but tomorrow you gonna get it.
Yeah.
Because da 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 da.
Yeah.
And then let it happen again the next day. Leave him even more excited on those things. Where I've seen so many men and so many women, it's like, hey, you want to go upstairs? You want to go upstairs and bang? You want to go up, do it? Or the guy will like rub his arm on the women's arm, and it's like, dude, get out of here with that weak stuff. Nobody ever. Oh, what is the biggest attraction to women? Confidence.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
100%.
So if I came in with a weak initiation, where I was like, hey,
I'd be like, what is he doing?
No,
like,
you want me to come
this?
in and be confident
yes.
with it, right? In those things. So one of the things that you've done that's been really, really good is, because like we said, we take the shower and things whatnot. She'll sometimes leave me a note when I get out of the shower, and it'll be on the counter, and it'll say, meet me downstairs in the guest bedroom. And then when I get down there, she'll have the lights off with like maybe some candles and maybe some music playing, and she'll be waiting in something sexy down there, something like that. Like it just mixes it up, right? Sometimes I'll do that here where I'll put the lights down and get the room set up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's,
or even just hanging out in the kitchen and you'll pull me in, there's just different ways to throw different things in the mix.
Totally. I'll pull you in we have a walk-in pantry for that. Not that I'll take you and have sex in there, but I'll pull you in there and make out with you or something like that. Just different things to really just switch it up. But it's a power confident move in that. I was talking with somebody the other day, and they were like, well, we were about to like have sex, and then like I kept asking her like, well, what does she want me to do? And well, last time you enjoyed this, should I do that? And I'm like, bro, I'm like,
just freaking do it, and she'll move your hand if not.
Right. If she liked it last time, then try it again.
Right.
And try something new.
Yeah.
But don't be like, well, do you want me to do that again?
Don't
like,
overanalyze.
Dude, no.
It kills the mood.
I've told you that before, where it's like, babe, I want you to take charge sometimes in the bed. Just don't wait for me to roll you over or switch the position. You do that in the bedroom. That's nice when I like a confident woman of that, but that's us having conversations about that.
Yeah.
You must have conversations about these things. We literally know, and this makes us sound like all we do is talk about sex when it's like literally the smallest part of our life. But in the car when we got to the gym today, I said, I asked you a question. I said, babe, I go, what is your favorite way, like in the bed that like, man, it's your favorite. It's like the thing that just does it the most. And like, cause we're constantly always like, we have our go-tos, but sometimes we go through little stages of like, we've been doing this a little bit more than that. And I asked you, you got to have communication on this stuff. And you asked me, and I said what it was. You know what I'm saying? So it's like these things. But when it comes to later on, we know what the power moves are in these things. And so it's so important. Um, yeah, so there's just a ton of different things, guys. We could go down the rabbit hole of initiation. This is getting a little bit longer than I was wanting it, but mix it up is the key thing.
Mm-hmm.
Be confident.
Yeah.
Guys and women initiate. Talk about it. Don't bring up the topics if you're in an argument or frustrated. Don't be resentful. Don't pull back. Be mature and talk about these things.
Mm-hmm.
How do you grow your marriage? I'm gonna be real with you. You grow yourself first. You grow yourself.
For sure.
Then you got to be able to have quality conversations, vulnerable conversations with your spouse.
Adult conversations.
Daily.
Don't be immature.
Daily.
Mm-hmm.
Keyword, daily.
Mm-hmm.
You want a deep relationship with God? Daily. Going to church once a week does not make you a Christian if you are not going hardcore every single day. That's the check in the box weekend warrior Christian, and that's why Christians have a bad name. You ain't going to have a good relationship with your wife if you go on a date night. Date night is a pet peeve of mine. Date nights are great if you kill it 7 days a week with your wife, and that's an added bonus.
Yeah.
But a date night is no different than going to church once a week.
You can't just depend on just the date night and expect the marriage to be good when you haven't connected the whole rest of the week.
All week.
Yeah.
All week. That's why the priority list in life goes God, self, marriage, kids, business. Mm-hmm. That's the priorities. Business is last. Kids are second to last, guys. Mm-hmm. I'm letting you know this. Kids are second to last on that. And self is not you drinking beer with the boys or the girls having wine with the women. No, that means you're focusing on your mental, your spiritual health and physical health to show up as the best version of yourself in the marriage. 2 full cups of marriage bleeds over onto the kids, and then the kids see an amazing marriage rather than an empty cup marriage. And then by the time you get to business, you ain't even tripping, but because you're killing it in all those other areas and you're so connected with God because he's number one, he's going to be the best guru for your business. He's going to scale that thing to the moon if that's what his wishes are.
Yeah.
So, guys, initiation. If you enjoyed this, please rate us 5-star. It means the world to us. If you're on YouTube, give us subscribe. And if you're interested in coaching, click the link below. We have an amazing men's community, and the women's community is actually really growing right now too.
Yeah.
So either way, want that, let me know and click the link and apply, and we'll go from there. So God bless y'all.
Bye.